So, as the NBA Finals had just concluded, and it's a rather a very disappointing way of ending our season in a very tough way. Um, I'm not gonna give all the discredit to the Lakers because clearly they are the better team. They know what it takes to win in big games like this. You know, with LeBron and Anthony Davis, those big duels right there. Uh, Tonight I wanted to see if I was gonna record either this video as we're about to talk about right now, or Miami Sports recap of the week episode 8. And well, what do you know? This is the video I have to do, unfortunately, and it's unfortunate that it didn't go our way. But I will say this though: congratulations to the LA Lakers. So how do they end up there? Well, Game 1 started September 30th. The Miami Heat actually jump up into a 13-0 lead. Well, actually, not 13-0, but 13-point lead in the first quarter. And then since that 13-point lead in the first game, things went completely went the wire down from that stretch. As the Lakers managed to came back, score as many points as they could, with Anthony Davis scoring 34 points in the first game. LeBron James also scoring 25 points, so 25 plus 34 would equal up to 59 points in total. So that duel was shining down, along with Caruso, Caldwell Pope, and Danny Green. Dwight Howard only got about 8 rebounds in that game. Unfortunate sequence for our benefit was Gordon Dragic and Bam Adebayo both hurt. With Gordon Dragic hurting his foot with the fractured foot tender, and Adebayo with the shoulder. So they were both out for the foreseeable future. In which they eventually came back in the series, but in Game 1. It's all the Lakers, 98-116. In Game 2, it didn't get any better at all, with Anthony Davis and LeBron James again with the dual points, with 32 points for Anthony Davis and 33 for LeBron James. So that's like 32 plus 33 is 65 points total. Those two guys single-handedly destroyed the Heat. And yeah, you could say Caldwell Pope would get the good points, along with Rajon Rondo, who was also a star, and Kuzma on the Lakers bench would prove some. Now for the Heat, Jimmy Butler would score 25 points. Jay Crowder with 12 points. Myers Leonard, who got some good minutes in this game. We'll talk about minutes in a little bit. But he got 7 points. Those were his first points in the NBA Finals. Duncan Robinson with 9 points, and Tyler Hero, of course, making a name for himself with 17 points. Now, Kyle Olynyk had himself a game, even though they lost with 10 points. Not as bad as the first game, but we lost by 10 points, which is not bad, but not great. He got 24 points, along with Kendrick Nunn, who was a star in the regular season, but he was just downright terrible in the playoffs. Now, Game 3, things started to look up for the Heat. The Lakers just didn't get anything going in Game 3. It's pretty much been all Miami Heat, with Jimmy Butler scoring 40 points. He was carrying the team, along with one of the great fouls that he kept drawing. The steals, he stole about two balls. With 40 points. James and Crowder with 12 points. Duncan Robinson, 13, and Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero was also a star. Tyler Hero was also the guy who was really powerful in the game. And Kyle Olynyk was also the guy who was pretty good. Both of them had over 30 minutes of play. Myles Leonard, 7 points. Fill it in for Gordon Dragic. Now for the Lakers, Anthony Davis with 15 points, LeBron with 25. That's pretty much all I could say. The Heat pretty much took over that game, and there were some interesting calls. And speaking of interesting calls, that's what happened in games 4 and 5. Now for game 4, the Heat were pretty good, and they were about to get there, but then when the third quarter came, everything just fell apart. With once again the duo 22 points with Anthony Davis and LeBron James with 28. That's equals 50 points in total with that. In this game, Bam Adebayo returned with 15 points. Jimmy Butler with 22 points. Tyler Hero with 21 points, but that was not enough to beat the Lakers in Game 4, as the final score of that game was 102-96. By the way, in Game 3, the final score was 115-104 Heat. Now, in my opinion, the best game of the series is Game 5, when it was it was either heartbreak or it was a thriller. Now, in this game, there were a bunch of lead changes in the second half, as pretty much for the rest of this game, basically the Heat pretty much had the game under control, but barely was able to pull away in the final minutes, and I'll tell you why. Now, Jay Crowder had himself a great game with 35 points. He was drawing fouls from the 3-point line. Actually, he had 11 points. The person who had 35 points is actually the great and all, the heart and soul of Miami Heat in this season, Jimmy Butler, who pretty much hit a record 47 minutes played in that game. 47 minutes. Think of the fatigue that he had to endure with 35 points and all the free throws and the 3 points and the field goals. Man, this guy was tired, but he still managed to pull through, and he didn't do it alone. Duncan Robinson coming in there. This was desperation. At this point, they were facing elimination because they were 3-1 down. Tyler Hero with 12 points. Duncan Robinson with 26. The rest of the bench was coach's decision. As far as the Lakers, 28 points for Anthony Davis and 40 points for LeBron. In this game, the frustrating part about this game was that they keep leaving LeBron open, and that's how he gets it. LeBron James open, you're gonna get swished. It's over. It's just over right there. With 40 points, you can't compete with it. Caldwell Pope with 16 points. Rajon Rondo with only 4. And speaking of Rajon Rondo, he had himself a game tonight. And finally, we're going to talk about what could be the worst game in NBA Finals history. Probably the second worst. This is definitely my worst game. With 106-93 final score. By the way, Game 5 was 111-108 in favor of the Heat. Now, in this game right here, with the Game 5, with the fourth quarter, this is the dying point where Lakers would take the lead, Miami takes the lead. Lakers take the lead, Heat take the lead. Lakers take the lead, and Heat take the lead. And it all comes down with one thing: free throws. Now, both of these teams did not have a foul to give, so it's impossible for you to foul. Because if you foul, they're going to go on the line, especially with Anthony Davis. He was the guy that was pretty much was going to kick your ass in there. Then at the end of that game, Danny Green with the free throw missed, and a horrible pass that pretty much turned the ball over to give Miami possession, and Jimmy Butler was able to pull those 2 points down, and they won Game 5 out of that one. That was a heart-wrenching moment for me. But I cannot say the same with this game, because this is clearly the dagger of our season. First off, Anthony Davis with 19 points, LeBron James with 28, Danny Green with 11 points, Caldwell Pope with 17 points, and Rajon Rondo with 19 points. Bam Adebayo with 25. The returning Goran Dragic came up with only 5, so he couldn't do much. I think it was a bad decision to put him in, but a good decision to make him as a bench player. But still, I wouldn't play him there. Butler with 12 points. Crowder with 12 points. He was terrible. Crowder was probably the worst player of that team. The amount of free throws that he missed and the free throws that they missed. By the way, the whole squad was missing free throws. They were missing everything. And with that out of the way, they were down as many as 30. 30 points down in the first half of Game 6. They left the first half with down 28 points. Right there was game, season, set, and match for the Miami Heat. That was a horrible performance, and I'm deeply, deeply disappointed in that game. This game tonight was terrible, and ultimately gave the Lakers the victory as they desperately wanted since 2010. Now the refs, they made some chippy calls, but it's hard to. It's really. There's nothing you can do to really complain about the refs because it's just going to be the same bullshit over and over and over. Just fuck them. And with that out of the way, the final score is 106-93 Lakers as they won the championship again for the 17th time ever, which ties Boston Celtics record of 17 titles. The last title was won back in 2008 when they beat the Lakers. The Lakers were going for the 16th title. The Lakers were trying to go to tie up the Boston records at that time. But Celtics win in 2008 with Kevin Garnett winning it in 17th title. They got the Lakers with the win against Orlando afterwards. That's their 15th title, and the Lakers with the Boston Celtics being their 16th title, which I miscounted with the titles because I'm just so frustrated with this game. I can't even think straight because that's how pissed off I am. But I'm gonna get over it in a couple of days. This was a tough loss, and as tough as this loss was, I cannot discredit the Lakers because they are clearly the better team. So my props to the LA Lakers. My props to Los Angeles for being patient with this year. And I give props to Miami for being patient and being the best team that they can. This is why I love this team, and since LeBron, right, people started to cut loose with the Heat. For me, I stayed with them because I know one day they're going to cut back to the finals, and they did just that. So I'm so proud to be the fan of the team. They did magnificent, and I will not go away because I went away with New York. I'm not going to do it with Miami. That's just not me. Also, I do have something to say, and I can't believe I'm wrong. I can't believe I actually just realized it as I'm trying to scroll through. This video I made in May 29th, 2018, when the Cleveland Cavaliers and Golden State Warriors were doing those repeats over and over and over. I made that rant video. And there's this comments about this upcoming season is all about LA again. Expect this, both LA teams. And I said, yeah, Lakers will probably make it. Don't be surprised. Some say it's the Clips, but who will be champs next season? And I said maybe, but I'm going to go with my gut and say it'll be the Lakers. I just have a feeling that LeBron and Davis will build up chemistry. And God damn it. For 2 years, made that video. And the year after that rant video, I predicted the LA Lakers were going to win it. Look, says it right there. If you want to pause this video, you can pause this video to read it, or you can check out that rant video to see it for yourself. But I predicted the Lakers were going to win, and boy, I really eat those words and those comments. So not only I made a really good call, I also jinxed it because, thinking it's going to be the other teams like the Celtics or Toronto, even Milwaukee. I didn't think we'd become the victims of it. So I apologize. I apologize for that prediction. I also apologize for jinxing. I also apologize for being the cursed person I am on YouTube. Anyway, Miami sports recap of the week. It's coming tomorrow morning. Actually, tomorrow afternoon because I have to work in the morning. But tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to make episode 8. And no, Miami Heat is not the loser of the week, but they're also not the winner of the week. I know who's going to be the loser of the week, but I also know who's the winner of the week. Actually, winner of the week is a tough decision, but winner of the week, stay tuned for that. If you expect me to talk about the Heat tomorrow, I already talked about it here. I'm not going to repeat myself. But anyway, that's going to do it. Go Miami Heat. You made me proud, even though we got our ass kicked. By the way, LeBron James is the MVP. You know what though? I don't know about LeBron being MVP. I was gonna say Anthony Davis should have probably had MVP, but it's NBA. They're gonna overrate LeBron anyway. Anyway, that's gonna do it. This is Mirror TV. If you like this video, please leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. With LeBron James, he's one of the first NBA players to win championships with 3 teams. The first 2 was with Miami, the third championship was with Cleveland, and the fourth title was obviously with the Lakers. I just really explain it. Anyway, that's gonna do it. I'll see you guys tomorrow for my sports recap of the week. This was a tough week, but there were some great moments like Wednesday and yesterday and today. This was not one of them. All right, later, folks, and have a good day. Chin up, Miami. We'll get through it. Bye.